And what is up, everyone? I am Joe the Hoyles. I am back, as you can see. um, those of you guys that don't know, I am also the executive director for the JRG. And hold on, real quick. I'm getting an echo.
Is
I
it
don't know if
from
it's
my
on.
end?
I think it might be. Yeah. Um, let me see. Anyway, okay. Um, I am the executive director for the JRG, which stands for the Gemini Research Group. We research the creature known as Bigfoot. If you guys are interested in helping out with this search, give me a shout. Email me at beyond.woodline@gmail.com. We'll get you guys started. Um, your fan club's already coming in here.
Hey,
And yeah, we've got teams in New York State, Michigan, Oklahoma, Ohio, Florida, Louisiana, Oregon, California. Of course, here in Texas, where I'm at. And I always miss a couple of states. I know that. If you want to join up with one of those teams in your state, give me a shout. We can set you up. Or you can just start your own team. That's fine with us too. Just give me a shout again. Beyond.woodline@gmail.com. We will vet you as well as vet anybody we set you up with. Unfortunately, there are some crazy people in this world, so we try to take care of each other. But we ask that you do that too. We ask that you always research the researcher, right? Just don't go out with anybody. Check them out, investigate them a little bit. With all that being said, of course, I know you guys don't tune in to hear me ramble off all night. I have with me, is it Cyn? That's sort of one thing I wanted to ask you.
that's right. Short for
Okay,
Cynthia.
it's Cyn. Okay,
Hmm.
okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah,
It's Cyn Shrader Hill. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining, man. I do appreciate it. Um, real quick, if you don't mind, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
I am in Tennessee. I got started late to the paranormal game, always interested in it, but started in 2013 and uh, wanted my own team, just didn't know how to go about it. And finally joined a team. They trained me. I created Elk Valley Paranormal, and there's another. And I started writing books. I started editing first, and I was editing my friend Mark Elliott Fultz's book. He's the one that does the covers of my books and illustrations. And he said, "When are you going to write yours?" And I said, I don't know about that. And he said, "No, it's time. You got to do it." So got my first book out 2018 and haven't looked back yet.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, where can people find this book if they're looking for it?
I'm self published on Amazon.
Okay.
And Mark and I have formed our own little publishing company together. And I'm working on his cookbook right now that's taken all this year and started it last fall. So hopefully, hopefully by Halloween, his will be done and I can get my next ones out.
Oh,
That's what,
nice.
yeah.
Okay. Good, good. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Yeah. And if you want to, just send me any links for those, and I'll add them in the description. If I don't know if you added that anyway, but if you haven't,
Um, I'll send you my link tree if I haven't already.
okay.
That's got
Yeah.
all of them in it.
Well,
Hi,
cool.
Pam.
Yeah, everyone's here to see you.
Eric, Pam. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, cool. So, so like, what was like some of your first investigations, or what made you decide to like, I'm gonna do this?
Lost my dad in 2001 at the end of September. Nothing to do with 9/11, but I was always a daddy's girl and wanted to see if he was still around the old store that
Mhm.
my mom and he had for several years. And when the team came down, I was pretty much the trigger object and just asked questions in the dark, trying to see if my dad was still there.
Mhm.
Never got anything personally except their equipment lit up and there was no utilities or anything on for a couple of years prior to this investigation. But where his office chair sat for over 30 years, their all of their K2s, all of the EMF, everything hit right where that was.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure that was residual
Hmm.
looking back now, but it was still pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. I lost my father in 2012, and but it wasn't until, man, I want to say 2017, 2018, when he started coming around.
Really?
Yeah, I was kind of going through a hard time in my life at that for those couple of years, and yeah, he just started coming around. I never saw him, but I knew it was him. I just could feel him. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I could just feel
No.
his presence, and
Hmm.
I just knew it was him. It was just like he was standing in the room. Um,
Hmm.
and then one day I was living outside of San Antonio at this time, and my son was downstairs, and I threw some clothes down to him because he was washing his hair. Wash these pants or whatever I had. It's like, okay. So there was a light switch right next to me, and it flicked on, and the light came on, of course. And
Hmm.
I was like, and I again, I just knew it was my dad. A couple of years later, I moved back to Houston. I was in my mom's kitchen. My mom was sitting at the bar, and I was telling her about this incident. And as I'm telling her, the light switch in the kitchen flicked on, and we both heard and saw the light come on, of course. So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
And that
so
just kind
you
of,
almost have to say, yeah, that was him.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was him.
yeah. And like I said, I just never can really explain it, but I just knew that he was there around me.
A lot
And
of
no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say a lot of people ask me because I wrote a book on signs from our loved
Hmm.
ones. And a lot of people ask me, how do you know it's a sign? How do you know it's one of your loved ones? Well, you don't concretely
Yeah,
know. But
no,
usually when you feel something change, or
hmm,
like if you pick up a feather, it's the first person you think of. That's
yeah,
your sign. And
hmm,
nobody can take that away from you. Cardinals to
yeah,
some people. My nephew shows up as blue jay and red
okay,
winged blackbird.
hmm,
So, I've got cardinals in the backyard that represent my dad, my grandmother, my husband's mother and father. But
right,
my nephew didn't fit into that mold. So
yeah.
it's the blue jay for him and the red winged blackbird.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah.
it's just who
You know,
you
I,
think
I
of first.
yeah. I had a friend of mine that actually lives in Canada, and it's bumblebees for her, which she thinks of her brother, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
the snow was coming down one day, and she's sitting in her car in the parking lot, and there's a bee bouncing on her windshield,
In the
flying around.
snow.
Yeah, yeah. It's
See?
one single bee just bouncing on her window, and she's like, I
Mhm.
was sitting here, and she was thinking about her brother, and this bee shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of funny, kind of
Mhm.
funny. But yeah,
And
I
they
just
know. They know.
yeah, and I just know that it was always him. I don't know, I just can't explain it, but I just knew that it was him. He hasn't been around me in a while because I'm in a much better place, but yeah, I think he was kind of watching out
But
for me and guiding me a
but the
little
thing
bit.
is, you said you can't. Yeah, and he probably was. And you said you can't explain it. But the thing is, you don't have to,
Yeah,
because you know how
right.
you felt. And if somebody
Hmm.
doesn't believe you, that's on them. You just hold true to
Yeah,
what you feel
yeah,
when you have signs come to you.
yeah,
You don't have to explain it to anybody.
yeah, and that's exactly how I think about it. Somebody doesn't believe me, they don't have to, but I don't have too many skeptics around me, and not that I don't care if they're around me or not, but for the most part, a lot of the family members, when I tell them this story, they're like, oh yeah. Especially like my brothers and sisters, my
Hmm.
my nieces and nephews, they're like, no, Grandpa's been around. Grandpa's been around. So I think he's made his round around the family. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So do you do
I know
investigations
my
or do
mom
you
was.
go out? No, no.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about your mom first. There's like a little
Yeah.
delay here, so
Oh, that's she was very skeptical of any kind of signs, any kind of paranormal investigating. She hated the fact that I started it, and
oh really?
was always giving me crosses and things like that for Christmas and birthdays, which I love them. And I'm not going to go out and do any kind of conjuring. I'm not into that kind of thing. I'm trying to see what's on the other side as far as signs go and find out who the haunting person is in that building and things like that. But she did not like it. And when we lost my nephew, now losing her mother and her husband, she actually heard my grandmother walking in the kitchen and heard my dad taking a shower after their deaths. But she was still very skeptical. And it wasn't until we lost Wyatt 2 years ago. He was the only grandson of hers. He was my only nephew, the only child of my sister, and it was devastating, and it's still devastating to have lost him.
Right.
But he started showing up immediately to his mom, and soon after to his grandmother. And I came in from teaching a class one night, and mom was just sitting there very quiet. Her dogs were barking, to say hi to me, but she wasn't moving. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, I think Wyatt visited me." I said, "Really? What happened?" And she said, "He showed me some pictures, and I want you to find them for me." I said, Where were they?" And they had come across on her phone after it had powered down on its own, and her Kindle had powered down on its own. She couldn't get any of her electronics to work. When that phone powered back up, his name shot across the top, and then he started showing pictures. And I went on her phone to find those pictures, and they're not there. I've I have looked at his phone, his media cards on all of his old phones,
Mhm.
our media cards on our phones, our Facebook accounts, his and ours, uh, Instagram, everything. Those pictures I've never been able to find.
Wow.
So it was just something he wanted his grandmother to see.
Huh.
And she started thinking, oh, well, I guess it is okay if you go investigate this kind of
Right.
thing.
Hmm. That's pretty interesting. Did she say what kind of pictures they were or what they
She
were of?
did. She explained them completely. And she said he had a red shirt on. It was sleeveless. And I said, I've got a gray sleeveless shirt. She said, no, no, no. It was not that one. It was the one like that, but red. And I said, I've got one with sleeves of that shirt. And she said, no, it was sleeveless, which he did have one,
Hmm.
but we don't have any pictures of him in that.
Hmm.
So it's still a mystery.
Yeah.
He just wanted his grandmother to know that he was around. The other thing he does is messes with her Kindle. And it's usually when she's kind of having a down day, and he'll come in and flip her Kindle over to the next chapter and then roll it back.
Huh.
When it first happened, she said, "We've got to get a new Kindle." I said, "You just got that one. That one's brand new." And she said, "No, no, no. It's doing some weird stuff." And she told me what it was doing. And I said, "Wait a minute. Was it coming exactly back to your chapter?" And she said, "Exactly back to where I was reading."
Huh.
Every time, every time. I said, "Who could that be, Mom?" And she said, "Is that my baby?" And I said, "I think so."
Mhm.
And so the next time it happened, she put her Kindle down and just sat and talked to him.
That's good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. Yeah, my dad. We had a party for my mom uh, in 2023 of April, and she had turned 72. So we had a party for her. It was just she has three kids, and then but we all have our grandkids and even great grandkids, right? for her. And my dad's twin brother was there along with my aunt. They've been married 53 years today. I think is their anniversary. 57.
Oh,
Happy,
wow.
happy anniversary, Uncle James and Aunt Patty. Yeah. Yeah, they've been married over 50 years. So um, this was on a Sunday. We had like a mariachi band come and play and stuff, and it was real nice. Um, that next morning, that Monday, my brother, my oldest niece, and my uncle, my aunt were going to go to the cemetery. And so on that Monday, it rained. So I called my brother Tuesday, and I was like, "Hey, did you guys wind up going?" He's like, "No, where Dad's at, it gets really muddy back there, so we didn't go." And I was like, "Okay." He says, "But I got something strange to tell you that happened at the party." He said, "Maddie, which was my youngest niece, she was 15 at the time. Um, he says she heard Dad's voice at the party." I said, "Okay." He told her that he was glad that Grandma had the party, that he was proud of us for giving her the party, and that she deserved it. And I was like, "Okay, well that's cool." And we all think she has gifts anyway. He goes, "But that's not the strange part." He says, "When I called Uncle James on Monday to tell him, hey, let's not go because it's raining. He's like, okay, we won't go, but I got something strange to tell you that happened at the party that was really strange. Your Aunt Patty heard your dad's voice at the party, and he told your aunt that he was glad my mom was having a party, that he
Oh,
was proud of us for giving her the party, and that when her time comes, we would be waiting for her."
oh,
My aunt and my niece, neither one of them knew that the other had heard this. And
oh, wow.
yeah, neither one of them had talked about it, other than my niece going to my brother. So
Wow. That
yeah,
gave me chills. That
yeah,
gave me
yeah.
chills.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty good confirmation. It was pretty much the same, the same message, other
Right?
than I'll be there when her time comes. And I think he probably saved that for my aunt, and he didn't want to freak out my niece.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was the same message. It was pretty
Wow.
crazy. So yeah, and that's why I say that my dad has, he's made his rounds. He's made his presence felt around the family, uh,
Hmm.
and that I know it's been at least a couple of years. But I think he was just kind of helping everybody out, and just letting people know that he was around. When we get
Hmm.
together, he's probably around us. Yeah,
I think that's when they show up a lot of times when you're um, just having like a get together,
mhm,
Christmas get together or something like that.
yeah,
And they
yeah.
just,
And Bob Dahl,
hey.
Mr. Bob Dahl, good guy. You guys go follow Bob. He's awesome. He's got a really good podcast himself.
And also Eric on Unseen Paranormal.
Unseen,
Sure.
unseen. How did I
Yes.
miss that? Yeah.
I don't know. Oh
Nope.
yeah. Yeah. He knows about my turkey ghost.
What happened to your turkey ghost? Tell us about that.
It was at the old store. And that first group that came down to investigate, they only got two EVPs. One was a really weird holy mackerel that nobody in my family said. And the other one came from the basement that used to be a turkey slaughterhouse. All the vats were still there where they boiled the turkeys. Hooks were still there where they hung them. And they actually caught some turkeys gobbling down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if the turkeys were gobbling in the slaughterhouse, it was on their worst day ever.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty cool, though. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We went on an investigation about 2 months ago at the 1899 Bolton House in Jacksonville, Texas, about 2 hours north of Houston. And even like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, we're still going through all our audio. One of our members caught a dog barking.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that was so crazy. I mean, there wasn't a dog in the house.
right. But
Yeah,
they are around.
yeah, yeah. What is he saying, Bob? Did you tell him about the very excited SLS footage?
No, Bob, I have not told him that. But now that you
Yeah,
brought it up, I'm going
really.
to have to.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
You want to jump on the show? You can do the interviews, and I'll go home. I'll play it. I'll play
He's talking about at my co-founder's the house he was living in. was haunted. And so he got me to come out. His brother actually came out too and was manning the SLS camera. And, you got to watch those things because they'll map, you know, columns, and they'll try to make a figure out of chairs and or whatever. But what he caught on this SLS was not a column, was not a chair, was not anything but a spirit. But this spirit was reclining on the love seat. Sean was sitting across on the couch, and I was back in one of the chairs and had gotten up. His brother said, come here, you got to see this. And I looked over his shoulder and I said, what is that spirit doing what I think it's doing? And he said, uh-huh. It was pleasuring itself, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
It was a guy. So
Okay. Huh.
it was, so thank you, Bob, for bringing that up.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob. Bob, I appreciate that story, Bob. You guys go follow Bob. I'm serious. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good.
I
That's
don't
a good
even
story.
think I told Eric, my friend from Unseen. I don't even think I told him that one.
Huh, that's pretty cool. Well, I mean, cool evidence, I guess,
Right. Weird evidence. Yeah.
weird evidence, yeah.
It's kind of weird.
As they say, what does Bob
He
have? Bob
does.
says, I like to throw monkey wrenches in conversations. throw away, Bob. You're welcome. Throw away, bud.
Yep.
Yeah.
He only lives about 20 minutes from me.
Okay, yeah.
So,
And
yeah. Sorry about that, Eric. Yeah.
yeah.
You didn't know about the pornographic ghost that was at Sean's old house. He's moved now. He's new.
Oh.
And yeah, I don't know if that followed him when he moved or not. I haven't seen his new place.
Okay. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I don't really know where to go from there. But...
I know. Yeah. Well, when it happened, we were like, Sean, have you been? He goes, no, I have not. Anything that happens like that is back in my bedroom with somebody. I don't have to do, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I said, so you haven't been doing anything out here in the living room? He said, no. And I said, well, something else is. And he goes, ew.
Yeah. Well, there's a joke in there. I'll try to bite my lip on that. But,
Right.
Yeah. But yeah. So what places have you investigated that you've had some pretty good activity at? That you like?
Right.
Yeah.
Strange.
Besides the love seat incident.
Well, Eric that's on here has a new place that is open for investigations. It's the house was built back in the 1820s, I believe. And he and his husband just bought it, and they've only had it 3.5, 4 months, maybe 4 months. And they've got it ready, and they had their first group investigate this past week. Now, first, I should say official group, because he invited me up and my husband and Regina Blatt and some of our other buddies up to do an inaugural investigation.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great. So it's called the Night House, and it's in Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Okay.
So you guys should check it out.
Yeah. If there's a link for it or anything, send it to me and I'll share it too.
Absolutely.
I'll put it in the description. Yeah, for sure.
It's a cool place.
Yeah. So what kind of activity did you guys get there?
He, from the very beginning, he has gotten, you're going to have to bring him on your show.
Okay.
Talk about it.
I sure will.
Him. Yeah, you'd enjoy him. So I won't take away, tell all of his secrets, but
right.
There's several spirits that are hanging around, and they've seen them, they've heard them, they've heard walking footsteps, they've heard voices and things like that. He's got security cameras, and he has caught a door closing on its
Yeah.
own, and it's against a fan that's a real powerful fan that's blowing against it, and there's no way that it would have closed
Mhm.
unless there was an outside force,
Right.
doing that. And it's like the spirits in that house have a really good sense of humor, and it's
Mhm.
like he'll move stuff, and then they'll do something to that area that he's just moved the camera off of, and they'll do it over there so it's not on camera, and he's like, I'm going to catch you one of these days, and he's caught him.
Hmm.
He's caught
That's good. And have you ever seen an apparition or a figure?
I have. um I have seen a little girl at the old hospital here. I've seen something that wasn't human float over me. That was
Mhm.
a black cloudy mass that had eyes in it. I've seen a
Oh,
gorgeous redheaded woman walk
really?
behind me.
Mhm.
And I actually saw my nephew out of the corner of my eye last year at Pensacola Beach.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
That's pretty.
So that one floored me.
Yeah. Hmm.
That one floored me. But usually I don't see things straight on. It's almost like my mind is telling me you're not ready to see this.
Hmm.
So I see better in reflection.
Okay.
I saw the redheaded lady in reflection, and I saw that cloud float over me in reflection of a really shiny desk. And that thing was freaky. It had actually, they had caught it on camera a few times, and it is so blatantly in your face about wanting everybody to know it's there, that they caught it on camera crawling up into a desk chair and looking around, turning around to look at the camera. So this thing, and it showed itself as that cloudy mass to me. It's been seen as a shadow figure. It's been seen as a black mist, um, just different things.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's odd, odd. Um, one of the coolest things I think that happened, I went to Hell's Dam, and we were asked to help with a public hunt. And that was my friend Mark was doing seances. My friend Walt, who is now on Elk Valley Paranormal Team, was asking us to help with a public hunt they were having. So they had different groups coming in, and Matthew, that used to be on my team, he's still my ghost magnet. I really wish he was back on the team, but he just doesn't have time. He, wherever Matthew is, ghost follow. And so he had actually gone out of the building on a break. We were between groups, and I was just sitting in the dark going through our EVPs. We were there to show how to catch EVPs, how we did our audio sessions, how we did burst sessions, how we recorded, and different things like that, and how they could learn to record and hopefully catch some voices. So I was just going over some of those. We had one recorder that was going the entire time, and the other one we were using for burst sessions. He went out and came back in about 10 minutes later, and he said, Cyn, are you okay? And I looked up and I said, I'm fine. How are you? And he goes, I'm fine, but come here. And I still looked at him really weird and got up and walked. It was about 15 or 20 feet across this crossroads room. And we were in the tunnels crossroads of Hell's Dam. And he said, look where you were sitting. So I turned around, and there was this red mist that my chair was just engulfed in. And then as we stood there, we watched this red mist just kind of pull back, go down behind where we had been standing and sitting, and it went around the corner. We went after it to see, what is this thing? What is it? Who is it? And it went around the corner and then just dissipated. It was gone. So one of the EVPs I got that night was a really strange chant like thing. And it was almost like a military chant. So I asked every military person I knew, do you know what this is? Is this a cadence? What no, no military cadence at all. Nobody could understand it. It it sounded a little bit foreign, but then it would sound like a chant. So I didn't know what it was. And 3 years later, I still hadn't deciphered it. So I'm talking to my friend Mark, and we were talking about going back to Hell's Bar Dam to do some experiments. And I said, I've still got that EVP I can't figure out. And he said, what is it? And I said, I don't know. I can't figure it out. And it was the night you were doing seances. He said, send it to me. Let me hear it. And I emailed it to him. He called me immediately and said, those are the Indians I told you about. Those are the Indians. They have been there way before the white settler came. Right. And it was way before Hell's Bar Dam, way before anything. They are some of the oldest Native Americans around the area, and they had their face painted with red and white and some black stripes on it. And he said, and they were short. They're shorter than normal Native American that we are used to, the Cherokee and Apache and all that kind of. These were short. And he said, they're around when you see a red mist. I had not told him about the red mist.
Oh, wow.
And that was just verification that was them chanting, and they were happy that we were there trying to talk to them.
That's pretty cool.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, I mean, that red mist is definitely confirmation from hearing it from somebody else.
Yeah.
And then you put everything together.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's some pretty good information. Or pretty good evidence, really,
Yeah, yeah.
I like that.
I love having validation come in for something.
Yeah. So have you ever been scared at all?
3 times.
3 times, okay.
3 times. Twice at the old hospital here, and once on vacation. Actually, we were staying in a cabin outside of Helen, Georgia, in the mountains. And it's this thing that I call rushing. I don't know if anybody else has a better term for it, but you don't see these people, you don't see spirits, but they rush up on you to intimidate you, and it's like you can feel the vibration. Mm-hmm. You can feel them come upon you, and you can feel it's almost like the most intense silent scream right by you, right by the edge of you, right by your ear. And you just feel all that negative energy coming over and the vibration off of it. And I didn't like it. I did not like it. The second time it happened at the old hospital, I was upstairs with Sean, and we had gone lights out to see if we could see some shadow people that frequent the second floor. And this was before this had ever happened to me. So we're sitting in the dark, and all of a sudden, something comes up on us. You couldn't see it. Even though, how even in lights out, shadow figures are darker than the dark.
Right? Yeah.
You couldn't see anything. You couldn't see anything around you. We could see each other because we were that close. But I just remember saying, Sean, I don't get scared. And he said, right. I said, do you feel that? And he said, yeah, let's go. And we got out of there. It's intimidation. It's just a really intense intimidation to get you out of their space. That one on vacation was the weirdest thing, because up until then, I never took sage or anything with me on vacation. Never thought about it. we were out in the woods in this beautiful cabin, and my husband he's an early bird, so he goes to sleep much earlier than I do. Me and Eric stay up and talk late at night. Anyway, he had gone to sleep. I was trying to sleep, tossing and turning, had to get up and go to the restroom, and I didn't want to wake him up by going to the master bathroom. I went to the other end of the cabin, and when I passed the stairwell that went down to the game room, something rushed up out of that, and I made myself keep walking. You know, this is not going to intimidate me. And I made it into the bathroom and shut the door, and then I was like, "Oh man." So now I'm in here, and when I open the door, whatever this thing is going to be right there in front of me. But when I opened the door, nothing was there. It was back in the stairwell. But the next day, I told my husband what had happened, and I said, "We've got to go get some sage." We looked all over this little Helen, Georgia. You know, if you know anything about it, it's an alpine town, and there was not a lot of sage in that place. We found one bundle left. So,
That's pretty good.
hi.
What's up, Mr. Anthony? You guys go follow Mr. Anthony. He's an awesome paranormal investigator himself. He does a lot of cool live videos. Y'all guys go check him out. That's pretty interesting. I've seen some dark figures and even like I don't know if you want to call it apparition, but I saw like this gray figure walking across the kitchen, and then I saw it walking across the our living room. But it was it
Yeah.
was it was like a smoky gray kind of a figure, but you could see the legs moving. I saw that twice.
And some people have this. We've talked about these kind of things a lot. Is it because you aren't ready to see that apparition fully, or is that as much power and energy that that apparition has? That's all it can, show you at the
Yeah.
moment.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, because so like my my middle son, he was waiting to go to the Marines. He was sitting on the couch, and he had his arm on the arm of the couch, and he actually called me. I was at work. He says, "Dad, you're not gonna believe this." He said, "I'm sitting on the couch and I'm watching TV. And I've got my arm on the arm of the couch." He goes, "I see some movement from my peripheral from his right side." He goes, "And I see this figure, this gray colored, smoky gray figure standing there, and it squats down to my level and it extends its hand out like this." And
Oh,
he says it touches him on his forearm, and when it touched him, all the hair on his arm just stood up.
wow. So it's intelligent.
Yeah, and then it just disappeared. Um,
So that makes me think, oh, well, I mean, if it can touch him and if it's got that much energy to squat down and get closer to him,
mm,
that's just how he wants you to see him in that
yeah,
gray form.
yeah. And then my my oldest was sitting on the couch watching TV one day. I think she had just graduated high school, and she was watching TV, and she called me at work again, and she's like, "Dad," because right from where she was sitting, the TV's right there, of course, in front of her in the living room. But there's a hallway, and her bedroom door is right there on the right hand side. She goes, "I heard my doorknob turn and the door open, and it's in the daytime, so there's light coming in through her, windows." She goes, "I saw it crack open just a little bit." She goes, "And I could see something like stick its head in that crack and then put
Oh,
itself back." And
wow. It's
yeah,
very intelligent then.
yeah. And one night she saw this black blob go from one corner of her room to the other corner of her room. Yeah, she saw that. And then one night I woke up and there's this silhouette, just the blackest silhouette of a woman standing next to the bed, and she moved towards me, and I threw a kick at her. You know,
Did you?
I sure did. I said, "Get back, mother!" You know,
And
and she
did
just, oh yeah, 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 she disappeared. And nothing in that house was ever trying to scare us. I don't think anything that was there was ever like had bad intentions.
malicious?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It certainly wasn't. I think they just wanted us to know that they were still there. I think it was the
Yeah.
original owners of that house. And from what I understand, there's still activity in that house. I no longer live there. My ex does. Um, from what I understand, from the great through the grapevine, there's still a lot of stuff that goes on there.
Well, they're
Uh,
still at home,
I would love to go back and like do an investigation of that house.
right?
Yeah, we actually, my son, uh, that same night that my daughter saw that black figure go from one side of the room to the other, um, I told him because at the time I was doing my Bigfoot stuff, which I still do, of course, and I said, "Hey, go get my recorder from my closet, my little digital recorder." So he goes, "Okay." So the rest of us are standing in the living room talking, huddling together. And a few minutes go by, and I look up and I see my son come. He's white as a ghost. He's like, Dad, you got to hear this." And I'm like, "What'd you do?" Because I went into the room. I did an EVP session. Who told you to do that? Anyway. So he presses play, and you hear him ask, "Is there anybody here with us?" And you hear the voice go, "Yeah," just just like that.
It's clear, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
But it's funny. We could see stuff where something would happen, and we might talk about it. Then we'd go back to our regular day, or even go right back to sleep. Because we were like, I don't know. We were okay with it. We were like,
Yeah.
we knew who it was. It was the Colemans, and we were just like, it's just the Colemans. This is their house.
Oh,
And we had people come and say, "Hey, do you want us to go and move them on?" I said, "If they want to move on, that's up to them.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not kicking them out of their house.
And that's a really good topic too. Can we really move on people?
Right? Yeah,
If they don't want to go, they're not going.
yeah. And so like once we realized what was going on, we told them, "Listen, this is your house," and I said it out loud. "This is your house. You're welcome to stay. Just don't do anything to scare us." Of course
Yeah,
of course they did, but
yeah.
I don't think that's what their intentions were.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I was sitting on the edge of the bed one day and I got poked in the ribs. You know, had, has somebody ever been messing with you and kind of poke you in the ribs? Like
Uh-huh.
the same thing happened, and I turned around and Max was knocked out. She was asleep, and I was like, okay, well,
Well, they've got a sense of humor then.
yeah, yeah. I felt the bed go down like somebody sat in it
Yeah.
twice. I felt that twice, and I felt both times. I thought it was my dog. I was going to get after him, and he wasn't there. I was like, okay, yeah. It
We
was,
have, speaking of feeling the bed go down, when I first got married to my husband, moved into this house that was his bachelor pad. And so I had a cat, Bella, but I didn't want to move her until I got all my stuff, moved in first.
mhm.
Well, we had gotten married and I was still bringing boxes back and forth and that kind of thing. And I had not moved Bella in. And he had fallen asleep first. I told you he's an early bird, so he obviously goes to sleep before me. And I was trying to go to sleep, and I felt Bella jump up on the bed and turn around and lay down on my feet. And I was like, oh, Bella's going to sleep with us tonight. And then it hit me. Wait a minute, Bella's not here yet. We got a ghost cat.
Oh wow,
We
yeah.
got a ghost cat. And so I didn't bring it up to him the next morning, but a couple of days later, it happened again. He hadn't fallen asleep yet. And I said, did you feel that? And he goes, uh-huh. And I said, what was it? He goes, I don't know. And I said, has it happened before? He said, yep.
Oh wow, okay.
And I said, were you going to tell me? And he said, nope. And I said, why not? And he said, I was waiting for you to tell me.
Oh,
And I said, it's a ghost cat. He said, that's what I thought. But
hmm,
I just needed you to tell me what it was. I said,
yeah.
it's a ghost cat. So we had a ghost cat even before I brought Bella over here.
Hmm, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Does the
Mm-hmm.
cat still make any appearances?
No, you know how sometimes you'll have a hitchhiker and not know it until later that
Mhm.
you brought something back from a haunting that you didn't know
Right.
you had. Well, we went to see Greg's family up in Pennsylvania and we're going around to the different homes and stuff. And when we finished visiting his family, we were going to go across from Pittsburgh all the way over to Philly and see Valley Forge, Gettysburg, the Dutch country, all that kind of stuff, Hershey, everything in between there. We were going to just be tourist. And so in Pittsburgh, I got food poisoning. And so that sidelined me for at least 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time we were on the road, we went through Dutch country. And by the time we got to Philly, or excuse me, by the time we got to Valley Forge, I was feeling a little better, but it was like in July. So it was really hot and humid. And I wasn't 100% yet. So I needed to find air conditioner and kind of get cool again so I wouldn't get sick again. And he went and got the truck and got it closer to us, and we ended up going. The next day, we were in Philly, and I was fine. Not a problem whatsoever. Even ate Philly cheesesteak. Not a problem.
Okay.
Came all the way back down through Shenandoah National Park into Tennessee and across the state down to Middle Tennessee where we are. And a couple of days later, I noticed something. I was hearing something in the house that wasn't usual. And it was almost like a rustling. And I didn't know what it was. It wasn't mean. It wasn't ominous. It wasn't anything like that. But it was just a different energy that had not been there before. And so I got my equipment out and found out after a lot of questioning and answers and all that kind of stuff, it was a nurse from the Valley Forge area that hooked onto me because I wasn't feeling well.
Oh yeah.
Came all the way back to Tennessee with us and stayed for a while. About 3 months later, I noticed the energy was getting a little bit kind of like antsy.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to Mark and I said, I think my nurse is getting a little bit antsy. I think she wants to go home. What do I need to do? And he said, wish her on her way. Thank her for all she did. And then wish her back home if she wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. And it was almost 24 hours, a little bit later, that she was gone. So was the cat.
Oh,
They bonded.
yeah.
And I just think that is the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope they're still together somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that all makes so much sense too.
Right?
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people write in about their pets. Like Eric had one of his dogs, Chase, came back and visited him several times. He has a story in the Signs book. So the Signs book 2 that's going to come out after I finish this cookbook, I've got a friend from the UK that wrote about her horses. And they actually left signs and let her know that they were still around.
Oh, wow.
So you just, not only people, but our animals can come back and say hello.
Mm-hmm.
He still pops in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a dog. His name was Atlas, a boxer. And I always wish he would come around, but he never has.
Aw.
Yeah, he was 12 years old. He passed in 2019. Oh, he's the best dog ever.
Aw.
Yeah, I miss him.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he'll pop in sometime.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they pop into animals that you just run into out,
Mm-hmm.
Out shopping or something. You can be going to the grocery store and come upon a dog that acts exactly like
Mm-hmm.
your dog that you had, or exactly like the cat that you had, or bird, or whatever.
Right.
And it's almost like they go into another host just to say hello. Remember me. I remember you. That kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they do that too.
Mm-hmm.
So, talking about stuff like that, what do you think about reincarnation or past lives, really? Too?
All of the above.
Yeah.
I think it's all connected. I think
Mhm.
we're all connected. Um, and I think it's a deep subject,
Yeah.
but I believe in it. I
Mhm.
believe in reincarnation. I believe that um, possibly we have past lives that um, we have been through, some of us more than others.
Mhm.
Um, some people don't believe in it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, we're all different, but we're all connected. So, one of the things that I've been interested in lately is deja vu,
Yeah.
with those deja vu moments.
Mhm.
And I thought in the beginning that it was more past life. I'd done
Mhm.
it before in a past life. Talking to Mark, and again, he's the one that does the covers on my books. He's a psychic medium. He does trance art. Um, he does remotes. He's actually done a remote for Eric at Night House and for my other friend Austin Lawrence for different investigations that he's done. Mark will do remotes for the place and does really good with it, gets really good results. But he explained to me that maybe it's not really a past life that you're experiencing, but more like a collective that once, because we're all connected somehow.
Right.
And, we've got old DNA in us from
Mhm.
all over the world. My ancestors are German and Scottish, Irish, English,
Mhm.
that from that part of Europe. And when you get their DNA, do you get some of their thoughts too? I don't know.
Yeah. I
I mean,
think so. There's been studies done on what do they call that? It's on the tip of my tongue, but basically that's like where our instincts come from. You know, what's it called? I mean, it's slipping my tongue right now, but yeah, it's part of the DNA. It's like being able to recall stuff from the past.
yeah.
It gets passed down to us, and that's like where it's more prevalent in wild creatures, wild animals, because they're still in touch with all that. They know like to be uh, like weary of humans or to be scared of humans.
Hmm.
It's in their DNA. To understand that.
Right.
You know,
Right. And that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. God, I can't remember what that's called. Um, it's gonna drive me crazy.
Well, of course, and of course, since you can't think of it, I can't either.
Yeah. What did he say? He says they think elephants have DNA memory because they know about watering holes and things they have been to.
Oh, wow.
So maybe, yeah.
Hmm.
Animals are so in touch with their
Yeah.
surroundings. They understand about all that stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Just
All this stuff is
instinctual.
so interesting. And I'm still thinking of what that word is called. I'm sorry, I'm going blank right
No,
now.
it's not instinct, is it?
No, it's like it's called like some kind of memory. It's like passed down memory. I can't remember. It's something like that. Yeah, yeah. Where basically our memories get passed down to that. And
Yeah,
they've done studies on that. But yeah, I've always found that really interesting.
I do too. I do
Yeah,
too. And it might not be the whole memory. It might just be just a little bit,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, us being human, we don't really need to use that anymore, so we lose it. You know, and
Hmm. Hmm.
where like I said, animals and wild creatures they rely on that for their survival. Yeah. But
It's just innate. Yeah.
but anyway, well, we're coming up at the end of the show here. It went by pretty quick.
It
Uh,
did.
yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna be driving myself crazy thinking of that term tonight.
You'll think
Uh,
of it as soon as we end the show.
oh yeah, yeah. As soon as I lay down and try to go to sleep, I'll be thinking about it all night.
That's what it was.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Uh,
It's something like that. Ancestral memory. It's something like that too, but I can't remember. And you might be right, and I might just be an idiot. Um, and I am an idiot, so that's probably you're probably all right. Um, yeah, I'm gonna think about it at 3 o'clock in the morning. Wake up and I'll send you a message. You'll be
yeah,
like, "What the
yeah,
hell
yeah.
is the message
I'll
you
probably
get?"
still be up at 3. So Eric probably will too.
Okay, well, cool, man. It was great having you on. Hey, to tell everybody where they can find your books, your channel, your pages, whatever you want to tell people.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Cyn Shrader Hill Author. You can reach me, Cyn Shrader Hill Author at gmail.com. Elk Valley Paranormal is also on Facebook. You can find my books on Amazon. I'm self published, Cyn Shrader Hill. And it's not just United States, it's every Amazon uh, um, place. UK has their own Amazon, all that good stuff. But you can find me there. If you have a story you would like me to consider putting in a book, I would love to. Just reach out, Cyn Shrader Hill Author at gmail.com.
Cool beans, yeah, man, yeah. Everybody, if you can't find her, shoot me a message. I'll message her for you, and I'm just like, hey, this person's looking for you.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. And if you ever need me to share anything, promote anything for you, just shoot it over to me, and I'll post it or tag me in it. I'll be
Awesome. And
happy to have it.
I'll send you my link tree that's got all my links in it.
Cool, yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
Everyone else, thanks a lot for joining the show, and thanks to your fan club for joining
I
us.
love them.
Yeah.
It's a mutual fan club. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
they come on for me, and I'm there for them too. So I love them.
Cool beans,
Good
man. Yeah.
people.
Yeah. And any of you guys too, for that matter, you guys want me to share something, tag me in it, shoot me it, and I'll be happy to share it for you guys too. And other than that, you guys have a great night. Cyn, thank you so much once again. And
Thank you.
everybody, I will see you next Monday. I don't know who I'm having on. I never do, as you guys know. Hold on real quick, Cyn. And everybody else, you guys have a great night.